could take it now. I could kind of, please does that sound good? All right. So another point I wanted to make to this audience here, that this product showcase is a prestigious opportunity for product companies from our community to showcase to the CIOs. We've had submissions for over 30 submissions, because we also make sure that the submissions we receive have real business case studies with real contact names and with real business value. So we're not looking at some technology which has just been around, though those could be very promising technologies, but we try and see that companies who've implemented with a certain amount of credibility in organizations, those are the solutions that we pick. We work hard on getting these submissions in, curating them, and we also have a very supportive CIO community here who help us jury it and bring it to the final shortlist of people here who are present here. In their order of presentations, this is going to be Tree Consultancy, then there is iWeb Technology Solutions, Quadra Software Solutions, SOAMatrix Software, then Vimagino, and Waybeo Technology Solutions. All right. Just one more point I wanted to make was that this is for our CIO guests. We have had submissions previously to a larger extent, and there's a little bit of a concern. This time we have had 30 submissions is pretty good, but still we found that many companies, technology companies, feel that this is too hard a market. So many of the technology entrepreneurs have actually given up on selling to enterprises. And that's, to me, it's very sad, because what we've heard in the previous sessions is that the session that we had, the workshop, that there are technology adoptions which many of you are very, very positive towards. And if the technology teams here, somehow there is this disconnect, and that's what we should try and fix. You want the smartest and the best people to continue to work on the problems that you have, right? We need to somehow break this log jam and get the best people to continue to work for you. And we should have a flood of submissions, a flood of good stories to tell you. Hopefully the next year we'll probably be doing 12, maybe more as we go along. Maybe a full day event we could actually do if we have more of such stories coming along. So without further ado, let me invite which one is that? Tree Consultancy Services to come on the dais. 10 minutes.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks to the CIO panel which shortlisted us. Thanks a lot. The product which you are talking about is it's called Employee Insight, which is focused on workforce management domain. Okay. I just wanted to introduce briefly about me. I was in 15 years in banking domain, managing technology, and started our company year and a half before. And we wanted to be in workforce domain alone, which is very, very specific and focused area. And we being the kind of highly populated country. Yeah. Thank you. I just wanted to talk about the birth of our product, basically. We all know about HRMS systems, and when we talk about HRMS, it's about the leave takes and HR database takes, and here and there about talent and retention or training or learning management systems. But the one part which we don't focus much is the workforce management system, which is from scheduling to time attendance and leave management, absence, and overtime. These all by itself is big systems, okay, which we don't manage. I just want to give a small story on this. Basically, when we have this, but the biggest problem, the gap which we found is we have a systems, but we don't have something to control, measure, and show to the HR world or CXOs to see what is happening in the workforce industry. Okay, that's where we thought we will come up with the product called Employee Insight, which is a dashboard plus alert system, especially on designed workforce management. This is our product. We have, different, dashboards, which basically very crisp and very straightforward to the HR heads and the CXOs, saying what is happening exactly in the manufacturing or any other domain. If you take it here, we have the product, for example, in a larger manufacturing company, scheduled employees, suppose a particular number, say 100. How many are in at exactly when the schedule starts or shift starts is very, very important for the manufacturing company. If it is starting at 10, if people are not there, and it takes 15 or 30 minutes for the managers to understand and do something else for over that. Our product gives sends SMS alerts so that quickly we can do something about it. And similarly, there are other dashboards, other alerts which can help the manufacturing on other services verticals. Quick technology brief. We take input from WFMS, HRMS, other data sources, comes to our app server, and then either we publish across the cloud, or we also publish to the internal cloud. I just also want to brief on the workforce challenges, which is automation, which is the biggest challenge because you have several systems, and either you have an Excel sheet or you will have different databases, right? Then you don't have right information, so there is no visibility, there is no right dashboard or alert system, no visibility, no decision making. And you also have a problem with the certain compliance, like you need to work only OT or overtime is only 25 hours in a month, something like that. Then the diversity, we don't worry about the contract employees, how to measure what we do. We manage it in a different system, which is not good again. Again, the integration of these bits and pieces of different systems and sheets becomes biggest challenges. This is a case study, is one of the leading automotive industry company where we implemented our system. We're talking about 8,000 plus employees. The challenges again, as I said, it's a legacy applications and high failure rate and manual process, disparate systems and possible payroll leakages, so many things. Now we come up with an integrated solution with a workforce management system, with a right dashboard and alert system, how we can control and manage it. The benefits were expected benefits very clearly written before we started implementing. We started working on it. Let me show you a certain parameters where what happened to it. For example, manager, you have scheduling, which is biggest one of the complex thing. Now, when we call about payroll, there are different parameters, which goes to payroll. You have, for example, one of the killer is the overtime. Then you have what time they came in, what time they went out. They leave different leaves, and something called absence. If they don't come for 2 hours, what happens? Or they come, they go early, what happens? So these all together you take it, and cumulatively you give one number to your payroll system. Based on that, you calculate your payroll. So this, basically, if you take here, if I have a different system and they don't integrate or don't give right information, manager spends huge amount of time. Some of the manufacturing companies, do only payroll reconciliation from different system takes 15 days or 10 days. Now here, if we implement right WFMS, right control and right dashboard, we're talking about just 1.5 hours for 175 managers in a large 7,000 organization employee. You average pay of 100. We say around 13,65,000 rupees. This is a hard number. Then if you go to overtime, which is a killer, we're talking about 5 hours and talking about just 200 employees you save. And we're talking about 120 because double the cost. And 52 weeks, we save another 62 lakhs, which is like, I've taken very fraction of numbers, which is all fact. Now again, this is a manufacturing example where your salary or your HR package is very small, which is we're talking about 2 to 3%. Now you understand services where we don't bother about working workforce. When I say working workforce, we only measure leave. We don't measure how many hours they work. That, if you start tracking with right number, which we have, will be amazing. You will see huge number saving, 30% in a BPO or IT service industry. Where is your salary? And you start tracking in a right way with right board, right dashboard and right controls. You will see huge saving. It will be in crores. And just want to thank you for all of you for giving this opportunity. I'm well ahead of 10 minutes. Thank you.
So you mentioned the automotive name of the company. Can you share the name of the company? Case study that
No, it was a very short notice, so I've shared with Nasscom, but.
So you need to share it with the people here because that's the purpose, wasn't it?
Okay, it's okay. It's Toyota. Toyota, it's in Bangalore, based of Bangalore. And we are also talking to another 4 companies, which is almost done, so we will be implementing very soon.
So any questions?
Yeah, Krishnakumar, thanks for this, and I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions.
Yeah.
One is, how do you integrate with your attendance recording in your system, because there would be disparate systems
Absolutely.
of attendance recording across manufacturing sites.
Yeah.
Different timings, different makes and all that. Do you have ready-made plugins to integrate those attendance recording systems? Number 2 is that, can you also get in touch with me?
I will do that. Thank you. Thanks a lot. We have built our own integrator. It's a middle engine which connects to either Excel sheet or any other data points you have. It is your attendance systems, your leave system. Basically, your attendance systems, when you talk about attendance, which is time in and time out, it's been based on your time capture machines, which is like based on HTA card or a biometric, which is foolproof because HTA is basically body punching. So going for a biometric and capture that information. You have all this information. The problem is we don't convert it as a right information and present it to right people so that you can take right decision and give right control. That's it. It's all there. It's there in Excel sheet, or some of them are invested in a good workforce management system. In our case, there's a good system called Kronos, which has been implemented, where it's a biometric based system. Then for me it becomes more, the integration becomes, you have to integrate with several systems to get this information. There is no go, but we have certain plugins which we can connect to the system specifically and get the information out.
I remember in the submission that you had made, that in Toyota Kirloskar you also have display boards across.
Yeah, sorry about. Yeah, I can. I think it is a Toyota culture. I believe there's a similar kind of big room where everybody sits. There is no hierarchy. Everybody sits, and they have 3 or 4 places there. One place we started, another they are working on also, where there's a big LCD, okay, where this information keep changing. Our alerts. It's basically an online. What the dashboard we are talking about is online. At 10 o'clock, what happens? 10:10, all my employees are in or out. So that information it's key, which is coming online. Whether what happens late in. At 4 o'clock, my shift ends at 4 o'clock. 4:45 out of 1,000 people who are supposed to exit at 5 o'clock, 4:45 it's I see 100 less. I can take some action. I will also get those 100 numbers to you, and you can find out what are the trends and take action against it, because it's one day is okay, right? If there is any outpost to it, basically. Lot of details we can go in nicely.
So does it work across days? If the work timings span across days, or is it a 12 to 12 kind of a...
No, I'm not getting your question, sir.
So if a particular shift is across, say it starts at 10 p.m. to
Yes.
ends at 5 in the morning,
Yes.
does it span across days, and does it take care of...
Yes,
24/7 working?
Yes. Most of the manufacturing works on across the day, 24/7. Now there is a time capture, as I said, where you punch in and punch out, which information goes to a particular server or particular database, which is keep going. Now the punch in happens at 10 o'clock, maybe 5 o'clock they out. That information is keep going inside. There are system which is online, where you punch the moment you punch, it goes to the database, and the managers or the CXO scans the information. There are a problem where certain time capture device, what you do is you sync once in kind of evening, or there's some problem where we basically talk to them to implement right workforce management time capture devices, so that you get the online data inside your database, which is also important. There is also a question how you will make sure that this data is there. There is no magic. You have to have a right system. If it is not there, you need to implement it. Then if you at least you start doing in one way or other way, you start gathering the information or collecting the information, we can also suggest. We are one of the leading workforce management kind of consulting company in India now. We can suggest what is best, what is not best. Then from there we can start how we can use employee insight into the full swing.
Any further questions? Any more questions? one question from the audience, if there is any question. All right, I will ask that question if I may.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate yourself from any of the other payroll providers?
I'm sorry, I'm not a payroll. Yeah, the WFMS. Okay.
How do you differentiate from any other provider of the similar kind of pain point?
As of, I've seen workforce management systems, and workforce management system itself is not, kind of not very familiar other than manufacturing industry. Now, from there, giving a right portal and alert or email-based or SMS system is not as of now existing.
Are you saying there's no?
No, there is no dashboard or there is no SMS or alert on workforce management. There are email, there is certain workforce management system gives, but what I'm talking is much more than that, which is not there as of today.
Whatever I gathered from whatever you said,
Yeah.
it's more of managing the time and all those kind of things. But the workforce management doesn't stop at only calculating the time.
No, I'm not. Yeah, sorry. I'm talking about 6 different things. Your time attendance is just one. Then there's something called, first it starts with scheduling, which is basically your, different shifts, we call it in other terms, right? Scheduling. Then your time and attendance. There's something called leave management. There's something called absence management. We all, think leave and absence is same, but it is different. Leave is something, your sick leave or other thing. Absence is about you don't come half a day, what happens? It doesn't come without notice. So this is a different thing, right?
Actually, I'm talking about productivity enhancement.
Okay.
So they don't do that. They are focused.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much.
Thanks a lot. Thanks, Sangeeta.
I now invite iWeb Technology Solutions to make their presentation.
Good afternoon, friends. Myself, Akshay Shah. I'm a co-promoter of iWeb Technology Solutions. I'm presenting a case study here of our product. We built ERP solutions, but I'm presenting a unique case study of an NGO, a non-government health organization who's implemented an end-to-end customized ERP, and what are the pluses which they face in this. Sorry, as usual, I'm facing issues with the slider. I think I missed the first slide. Okay, what we basically do is, we are a platform-based ERP product. So we've built a platform on which you could customize, configure, and have a multi-vertical ERP product. Basically highlighting a bit technically, we've built a framework which we call Agile Viz. It's not quite clear here, but the first word is Agile Viz. Based on that, we've built in various business applications. So it can be an ERP, it can be an e-governance, any large business applications. All that integration is possible on the framework which we've done. The delivery method here can be on-premise because many customers still are, against SaaS or hosted. But if you want hosted or SaaS, that's also possible. And we've built a framework for business intelligence, which we call Agile Analytics. The product, what iWeb Enterprise Suite does, it is a full-fledged enterprise product. I'll come to the modules in the next slide, but the verticals which we've already serviced are financial products, manufacturing, hospitality, trading, healthcare, and pharma. We have ready customers using our product in all these verticals. The entire product in a gamut in a slide. We have a CRM, we have a supply chain, we have a manufacturing module, there is an HR, payroll, finance, quality, and there are various integration modules to integrate with third-party business applications. The Agile Viz framework also has a mobile interface, so if you want to design applications on the mobile, we could configure that on Agile Viz and it could read and write on a mobile. The case study here, I would highlight more on this. The World Health Partners is an NGO. It's a Warren Buffett, Bill Gates funded NGO. What we've given to them, it's an end-to-end enterprise product, right from a CRM to purchase to HR to finance. Everything is integrated and customized as per the NGO working. We've also given them a handheld enabled PDA device, which works for the inventory calculation at the rural areas. Why basically they chose iWeb is, actually WHP is a well-funded organization. They could have gone for the best branded applications. But iWeb was basically chosen for 2 reasons. One is our agile technology, which helps them to customize even after go live. It's very configurable. And another definite reason was we were totally rationally priced. In an Indian scenario, it's a very big factor. So that was another reason. And we are totally hosted. We can give on SaaS, we can host. So that was another reason for us to be selected. So our biggest winning moment here, was the donor module. I have a customer demo next. I have a 2-minute slide which I'll run, where the customer himself mentioned, but the donor module was the winning moment for us. We could give them a customized donor module in just less than a month, and that was what made them select us. Basically, what AgileWiz does, it's a framework. It helps you customize, implement, configure on the fly. It's 7-layered, it's on the web. I have a short demo of the customer CIO, which I would like to run now. Sorry, could you just run that? Just a second. Okay, I have a customer that demo had to run. Oh, thank you.
World Health Partners is an NGO which has been established by Mr. K. Gopalakrishnan and his team in 2008. World Health Partners has proven to be an innovator in bringing clinical expertise of city-based physicians to the poor in Uttar Pradesh, and now we are trying from Bihar. World Health Partners' unique approach considers the scale and sustainability of program from the beginning. To ensure maximum impact on the community, partnership and collaborations are central to the World Health Partners, including a network of telemedicine provision centers, RFPs, franchisee clinics, diagnostic lab, and soft and pharmacies. The network uses technology to leverage the skill and knowledge of service providers, linking them to more than 1,000 villages in underserved communities. World Health Partners establish resources for providing health and reproductive services to the rural population. Couple years back, we were hunting for best mix ERP for NGO which has a donor accountability matrix. We saw a lot of solutions, but no one fitted the bill as we required. Then we came across iWeb. Though they too did not fit 100% as we required, the power of AgileWiz technology is what interested us, as well as the technical team from our donors, which did a thorough analysis of the software. Since there was a tremendous flexibility being provided both before and after going live, we thought this was the best fit solution for growing organizations like ours. We have successfully deployed a total customized ERP for our NGO, which has a mobile interface to record data and manage supply chain. The beauty of this project has been its easy deployment and round-the-clock personal support from iWeb team and management. We take iWeb as a partner and not just vendor in growth, and are getting to work together for our Bihar operations. The best part of the application is that it's 100% web hosted. Our donor can track daily transactions, fund utilization, as well as our providers. Last but not the least, the integration APIs being provided by iWeb have also helped us integrate our telemedicine module directly with ERP, which gets the patient data in real time into the ERP. We are really happy with iWeb and waiting to work with them for Bihar project in the phase 2. Thanks.
Thank you. Any questions?
I am Ravish, taking care of the entire finance of World Health Partners.
I hate repeated. Any questions? There are more than 100 rural centers which run the application, and there is a core installation. So the customer has 6 branches across the north of India, but the rural operations are more than 100, which are in the rural belt. They use through the PDA based mobile. So internet is on and off, but since it has a PDA interface, it's easier to connect.
Manoj.
Hi Manoj.
If I have a SAP environment, what is the kind of roadmap, how does that look like if I have to deploy your technology?
Which environment? I didn't get it.
SAP.
Acha, you have an SAP already.
Yeah.
Okay, so how you want me to help?
What is the kind of roadmap, deployment timeline I should look at?
Actually, I am not the right guy to comment on SAP. But the experience what we have is, SAP is totally a full-fledged, you can say 30-year plus old product technology company. They have their own ways to implement products. We have our own agile technology to do it. So honestly, I won't be the right guy to comment on SAP. We compete SAP. I worked with SAP earlier, but that's a different ballgame. I'm wearing a different hat now. So they have their own roadmap. We have our own ways to do it. So I think you should best is contact somebody in SAP to get those details.
Okay, maybe
I'll tell you, as a thumb rule, what we tell customers or how we pitch is, we will be, half the time frame of any major enterprise product technology company. The reason being, we have Agile technology with us, which even helps bigger organizations to do customization on their own. So we've done with LIC Housing Finance, we are doing with Airtel, where their own technical team is going to configure and use the workflow and the product as per their requirements. So usually the thumb rule is if it takes 6 months, we could do it in 3 months, provided we have the support from either ends, even from the management, and its top-down implementation is as per a time frame professionally done. It should take half the time what it takes for any normal enterprise product application.
Can I rephrase my question?
Sure, please.
Yeah. Okay, I have an enterprise ERP deployment.
Okay.
Your product sits on top of that, right? Is that understanding right?
No. What we have done is we've built a platform, but it comes with the own ERP. So I just don't sell the platform, I sell it with the ERP, and what flexibility I give is you could configure and customize the way you want it.
The question is that your case study that you've shared,
Yeah.
if that is a solution which is to be used by Manoj,
Okay.
and you also talked about ERP integration.
Right.
So Manoj is asking you as to if you take your donor solution,
Okay.
and what is your roadmap for ERP, for SAP connectivity?
Right.
Okay, so, okay, I got it. Maybe I didn't understand properly earlier. Apologies for that. What I wanted to know, which module, you are looking for the donor module or which module to be integrated with SAP? Because it has it's a cycle, so I need to understand more on the technology side, like which or maybe offline we could take it up, like which version of SAP and how, which module especially from our suite is what you are looking at. We could take it up offline, no problem.
I have a question.
Sure.
Sure. The question is, how different is the iWeb configurable platform that you created?
Yeah.
Different from well-established or more-established Ramco cloud-based?
Two things here. iWeb and Ramco actually are heads-on as far as competition goes. The difference here is Ramco doesn't give a tool to a partner or a customer to configure or customize on their own, which we are doing currently. Second take is what we do is we give a business repository along with the product. So tomorrow if you are adding business rules which are native to your company, you could merge that with the existing database metadata, and you could use that even in future. So this flexibility currently no vendor, no ERP provider is providing. There are other solutions who compete us who are basically platforms, who are just platforms like Orenscape and others, who give you a platform to build products on your own. But what we are doing is we are giving you a platform as well as a ready product where you could configure, tweak and use the product.
Okay, next is a suggestion.
Sure.
Every corporate, I'm sure you know what's corporate social responsibility.
Agreed.
So the module that you have shown,
Right.
I see a lot of applicability
To a CSR.
project.
Right.
We could approach.
Yeah, good idea. Okay, thank you.
Akshay, he moved off before I could. No, that's okay. I just wanted to mention that the donor that he's been speaking about, right? The donor evaluation, there is the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. And the Warren Buffett Foundation. So we're talking about technically very advanced set of people having validated the solution and donating, giving the money to those NGOs which they manage. I just thought I'd make that point. Okay, thank you, Akshay. We move on to the next presentation, which is Quadra Software Solutions.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you, Sangeeta, and thank you, CIO Forum, for giving the opportunity. Quadra is a 10-year-old company into the business of real estate, construction, engineering, and contracting, which is a very unique domain. I'm not sure how many CIOs are from that kind of a firm here. I wish there are some. I could take. So we have 3 research and engineering divisions, and we have 60-40 ratio. 60% of our manpower focuses on current solutions, 40% on the research and development. Since I go to the next slide, you would understand why I'm saying what I'm saying. So as you see here, I don't know how much is visible. In the past, the construction industry never had an industry status. Even today, if you look at it, not many of them represent CII, or not many of them go to Davos or anywhere. Because this is a very self-contained industry which is serving to the domestic need in India, not much of export. And as you go out of the hotel, you could see a lot of infrastructure development, right? It is still developing. In India, it is growing at the rate of 120% year on year, and close to $5 billion each state in South is investing into infrastructure. That is one stat for you. Other stat is because of the middle income group push into the housing sector, many interesting apartments, interesting structures are coming up which are urbanizing the whole city landscape as well as the middle town sectors like tier B, tier C cities. So if you look at the challenges that they have, we've been there with them for past 15 years or so. So we've grown as a homegrown solution for a builder. Our chairman is sitting here. And then we graduated into a platform which can independently serve with one solution into many construction verticals. There are close to 7 verticals which I would go into details later on. As you see here, civil, building, hydrocarbons, heavy industries, heavy infrastructure, urbanization, and construction equipment management. We also do something called projects business, anything which has time and budget as a constraint, right? We do automate it within the budget, and anything that is constituted as a project which has a definite scope, manpower, cost variants, we give metrics around measuring the same thing. As you understand, construction is a very collaboration intensive vertical, unlike manufacturing, where typically the shop floor is contained and most of the assembly happens within the shop floor. Here you are dealing with minimum 1,200 contractors in a project of 100 units, and you are looking at different verticals, different packages, and different things. And then the product starts with the estimate or business development, what we call, where the people start scouting for the land and they acquire the land. From there, the segment we deal with is called pre-construction. Then they conceptualize the project through design and architect firms, for which we have a solution. And then they hand over the project to the societies or whoever is the management thing. It could be even PPP kind of a project. And then we kind of take over from there as a maintenance project. So we cater to almost all verticals in the construction. And we also have a heavy engineering thing that we are taking up. Here, I'm showcasing one product that we came across, which is very interesting. As we graduated in the industry, we started building the domain practices as more focused to the, automating the business rather than looking at technology available. Then we suddenly realized this social mobility and other computing needs growing up, and all of a sudden there is so much of collaboration that happens outside the consumer space of this particular industry, which is a real estate industry. Then we started building a platform. We constructed the complete platform, which is now a single platform, world first platform to deliver as a ubiquitous computing needs. You don't have to know the source of the computing. You don't need to know the destination of the computing. It serves both SaaS and PaaS models of cloud computing. We also give infrastructure as a layer. We in fact launched the first cloud computing in the world on construction vertical. And then we also have the PDA based computing. As I can show you here, you could actually see complete connectivity. It's live data that you're seeing of one of the famous builders in Bangalore. So you could actually connect and see as you move. And there is also self-service that happens within the construction industry, which we automated. As you can see in the slide, the complication starts because of the various players, and sites are generally far off from, the corporate offices. Most of the strategy gets cooked up in the, corporate office, but the whole execution happens at the site, which has to be connected, which has to be, tracking the collaboration that's happening between various contractors, construction companies, blah, 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 blah. Then the point of contention is, generally the construction houses come to know the failure after the failure has been happened. After the event only they come to know. Here is a strategy which we are proposing where they can come to know well in advance, right? As you can compare the industry, manufacturing, there is no wastage percentage. It's tightly coupled thing. If you go to retail CPG, efficiencies in SCM, Whereas in construction, 8 to 12% is built into the estimate as a wastage. You could imagine the kind of dollars we are wasting on wastage alone. So this is the paradigm that we are trying to conquer, and we are probably 35% market share unconfirmed that we have. We are the leaders in the industry. And going forward, we have a lot more responsibilities to innovate more and more for them. As you can see in the next slide, point of departure for them is from begin procurement or design to actually handing over the project or a defect liability period, right? So Quadra clearly gives these metrics: cost, time, quality, safety, and inventory management, and sustainability. One of the critical factors that goes into construction industry is once you pay, once you give a check, it's gone. You can't track it. So everything has to happen before you give the check. Everything, including measurement, handover, everything. So cost becomes such a criteria, and each rupee that excess gets spent on a project results in your bottom line. I'll just go to a few case studies where we saved. And in terms of business process innovation, we did something called feasibility calculator. If you give me a piece of land, I could tell you, going by bylaws, what is the square foot area that you can build, and you can hand over. This is the most complex part of the project. Coming up with the landscape of a project and how many units you can build, how much of saleable square foot area you can build. Then the second thing is 5-dimensional estimate. We give MLESO, which we call as material, labor, equipment, subcontract, and others. All these costs are built in, and typically this is a owner-driven industry. If you go to Mantri developers, Sushil Mantri is controlling the entire empire. If you go to Prestige, Irfan Razak is controlling the entire empire. Without their consent, not even a rupee can be gotten from them. So they need to have this 5 dimensions frozen for a project, and everything thereon, every document, every order that flows out of the system thereon happens with their consent. So it is such a tightly coupled industry. There, because of this 5-dimensional estimate, there can't be anything outside that they spend, and everything goes by budget. Balance cost to complete, which is a very complicated paradigm for a project. Given a point in time, they have to calculate how much cost it takes to complete a project, given the variables. So first thing is we calculate to complete 10% of a project, right? 60% of your resources, including money, has been spent. Now for the rest 90%, what it takes to complete. These are the typical calculations. On top of that, we load the treasury finance charges and show you the metrics on how much time and cost you have to complete the project. We also have a contracts management, which is typically FIDIC. I'll just give you one example. Oh, already done. So I just give you one example where you have to mobilize the material on the site and you don't have any notice. And you go there, your material sits idle, right? You'll be charged for that. So these are the typical business process innovations we have done. As you go further, this is the single platform I was talking to you. It's already SaaS and PaaS ready. We also have IaaS ready. So it is linked through HP and IBM. You could actually log in and use all the services as a pay-by-use model. So this is what I have to present, and we have list of customers. This is what you get at the end of the day in the landscape. And when you look at impact, these are the typical dashboards that we give. So these are the 150 customers that we have. Who's who of construction industry use Quadra as their ERP? So I'm done with the presentations. Any question? It's completely web-based and it is cloud-enabled. It also runs on any PDA, Android, iPhone, and iPad.
May I request the CIO guests to ask the questions first? Once we have time for them, then we can take on from the rest of the audience. Thank you.
Yeah. Ari, you must have heard this popular term, garbage in, garbage out.
Yes.
Yeah. In the construction industry, you do understand that the kind of people who would get
Absolutely.
data entry would not be of the quality of maybe an SAP data entry operator.
Absolutely.
Right. So how is there any controls built into your system which ensure that some kind of data, what are the controls built into your system so that the data is correct?
In a way, I'll complement with your question. This is the most steepest learning curve that you can get is the usage of the product. So wherever it is possible, we have devised a device, like for example measurement books, which are LBD of a particular project. We give a laser device through which data is captured through laser and automatically transferred to the ERP for calculations. Wherever it is possible to automate, we have taken care of it. And when it comes to inventory management, that is where the typical low-end sector people come in and do the entry. A lot of manpower churn-out happens. What we have done is we have enabled devices with RFID wherever high volume, high value movement of material is there. Wherever it is not possible, we have something called bulk measurement, which is a typical innovation that we have done. Instead of counting cement bags, you would count tons of cement that you have in the stock, which will reduce the complexity. And in turn, we convert that to bags and show you the inventory. So we've tried to innovate as much as we can to counter this problem. It still continues. Usage of ERP per se is only 60%. What we have tried is we have solutionized to take it to 80%.
But in doing the kind of approximation you just said, don't you lose out on the auditability of the system for...
No, it is absolute norms. We convert from metric to standard measurement. There is no loss of any conversions that happen. So what happens in GRN is you got a 90-ton truck or 9-ton truck that delivered cement to you, and you would actually maintain 9 ton as a measurability. But we in turn convert 9 ton into number of bags because we know how many kgs in a bag that come in a cement thing. It's absolute conversion, scientific.
Do you also have connectivity with the standard ERPs that because you would have an inventory management and a total construction management in your ERP? Would you integrate the data from there into the standard ERP? Do you have any sorts of connectivity?
In fact, I didn't have time to show you. We have built-in enterprise service bus, which actually exposes all our web services into the cloud area. We can integrate with any particular, like for example, some of our builders have started using Salesforce for their CRM to manage their sales process in the apartments and sector like that. And what we have done is we have given Salesforce connectivity to 99 acres, Magic Bricks and other places through our web services, and we have a software appliance that we have built into the product called Enterprise Service Bus, which takes care of this orchestration and security of that particular service. So we can virtually connect to any device. Today it is device agnostic, today it is process agnostic. In fact, we have something called offline engine, which even doesn't care the connectivity, right? So we tried to conquer the way, whatever limitations were thrown at us, we came up with a solution for that. Any questions, Sangeeta?
Any, Rajiv, especially coming from the JSW, set up any questions for?
Thank you, appreciate it.
Any questions from the audience before we call the next showcase company?
You're asking.
Can this be used for large project erection commission?
Yes. We do have a lot of erection commission customers like Infab, Kalpataru kind of people can use it. Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So looks like a very deep amount of work with very close collaboration has gone into build the product what we have here. So the next speaker that we have, the next company to present is SOAMatrix. Yeah, please come.
Present to this forum. We'll be talking about one of the case studies that that we've implemented at BWSSB, the Bangalore Water Supply and Sewerage Board. This one. Okay, sorry. So, I'll briefly talk about SOAMatrix, what we offer, and then, as I said, talk about this particular solution and the case study in terms of what we provided to the customer and how they benefited from it. So briefly, we are close to 5 years old, and we are basically an SOA products and solutions company, and primarily people who's worked on enterprise products. I was previously heading the engineering for a couple of BA products, the WebLogic and AquaLogic products, dealing with integration, and in fact most of the people are with that kind of a background, who's been from the premier colleges, and we've come from companies like IBM, BA, and built a platform and the solutions on top of that. And so in terms of what we have essentially done very briefly is built a complete SOA or a service-oriented architecture-based stack, which essentially lets you automate your business process visually, integrate with different systems using SOA standards and web services and in ESB. You can model all your repository and define your policies, enforce governance, all this without any coding from browser visually. That's the primary advantage. And in fact, some of the solutions that were showcased earlier, from what I've seen, they've been based on similar technologies. So that's the platform we built. And what we've then done is taken that and built solutions around that, essentially extended the platform to work with certain verticals where we saw an opportunity and where we could see a gap in terms of what was already available, where we could have an early mover advantage and provide something that's much better than what's already available. So some of the examples I would say are, we have built something in the smart metering and AMR meter data acquisition space. So in fact we have probably the first large scale pilot going on in terms of smart metering. We're doing something on facility management, where again you have different systems for surveillance, for access control, and so on. And our software actually can talk to all of the systems, provided an integration in an integrated dashboard, so that you can see what's going wrong. And if something goes wrong, you can have a complete workflow in terms of how you address that. So in some of the I would say marquee customers we have, our Airports Authority. They are using our software to integrate 70+ airports, so that you get real-time information at all the airports. Earlier it was taking a month or so. Nasscom, Wipro, BWSSB, and in fact this solution I'm talking about has won a couple of awards from National Urban Water and the IT Biz, Bangalore IT.biz. There was an innovation award that we received for the same software. So I'll not go too much into the technology. Essentially, I'll just highlight that you can visually build the application in terms of, you can essentially take a flow chart. Yeah, I can say essentially anything you have, any resource, appliance that you have can be exposed as a service. It could be a camera, it could be a meter, a transformer, it could be, your database, any application, it could be a COBOL, it could be a .NET or anything, can be exposed as a service. It could be a ERP or a CRM. And then you wire it together to build a business process and a workflow. So that can be done configurably in a visual manner. And then you can define all your repositories, all your metadata, all your policies, everything visually. And essentially what you have is an integrated composite application which you can manage and govern, where you know what's happening, what's going wrong, and it's completely configurable. And the beauty of it is that a business domain expert, he can build something. So our people might sit with them, but essentially they can build it visually. So the control is moving from the software developer to the domain expert, and that's the beauty, and that's one reason why SOA has been adopted so widely globally. Sorry. So so this is the platform. So I'll just skip this, but essentially, as you can see, we can connect to various systems. It could be an ERP, a CRM, .NET, COBOL, anything. And or it could be a meter, it could be a camera, or whatever it is. So this is an example of how you can visually build a flow. As you can see, this is something, order processing. If somebody understands order processing, essentially you in this case, there's a .NET, a credit rating service, there is inventory, could be on Java, could be an ERP, and notification could be based on SMS, MMS, or whatever. So essentially everything, there are pre-built services, everything is exposed as a service. You build the flow and essentially you wire it together and you have it in place. So I'll come to the complaint management solution, and this is an example of, as I said, there are 3 or 4 solutions we have essentially built where we saw a need in the market. So the complaint management, the primary issue, for example, and this is one of the deployments, we took it up because at least the people in the audience who are from Bangalore might have been using that already, because earlier with BWSSB, there was just no control in terms of the complaints that were there. The management had no visibility in terms of what's happening. And what we have really done is taken it up and automated it completely. So the moment somebody files a complaint, it could be by phone, it could be by SMS, or from the BWSB website. And in fact, IVRS integration is there. They chose not to use it. So complaints will come to the system, and then based on the complaint category, the location, it's assigned to the right person. And then till the closure, till the customer says that my complaint has been addressed, it's completely automated. And the choice we've also given in terms of workflow is the engineer can be notified by email. He can look at the console. He can also look at the, he get an SMS. So, and then he can also update the system. If I fix this complaint, the engineer can say I fixed it. If he says it will take 2 more days, it will happen. And then there are also escalations and other things. So for example, if it's a critical complaint, it might be escalated in a few hours, or some complaints take 1 day or 2 days. So depending on the complaint category, they get escalated. And there are again real-time as well as periodic reports that are generated, alerts, and pretty much all. And the beauty of it was exactly what was required, and that's one of the advantages of SOA. So it's not like we had a system and we said this is how you can use it. We went to them, we told them this is what, tell us what exactly you need. We took that up, and in fact in about a week's time we could come up with a prototype which addressed most of the requirements. And then every time, as you see with most customers, particularly in the government space, they keep coming with newer requirements, newer reports, some change in the workflow. They said we also want SMS as well as email. Some people said we only want SMS. It's completely configurable. So you have an enterprise repository where we can say that for this complaint type, the escalation time is, let's say, 1 minute. It's 1 day. For some, so you can just change it visually. Or for different users, you can have different notification mechanisms. For some, it could be, as I said, just by SMS. Some people wanted email as well as SMS. SMS, they'll respond to email. They'll actually use it for an archive or a record. So as I said, this is architecture, as I said. And the other thing is, this is, as I said, a complaint need not come from a user. It could also come from a sensor. So if I have a sensor that measures something, and it could send an alert, and that could be processed, and an alert or event that comes in could actually become a system-generated complaint as well. And then it supports over, as I said, call center, SMS, email, IVRS, web, all the channels are supported. And every channel can be authenticated. So I make sure that only the right email address, not anybody can send an email and it's accepted, and that's again configurable. You can also add a PIN code, for example, if that's so desired. This was essentially, as I said, complaints could have come from so many sources. So now they're all integrated, they can all use the system. So it's all fed into centrally. Earlier, if you could go to BWSB service center, they had a different log, chairman's office are different, PRO is different. Now it's all integrated into one. This is a flow chart, I'll just skip that. And as I said, you can visually show a hierarchy in terms of what are the different, in terms of the hierarchy that's there, in terms of the offices that's there. And this is not tied to the software, you can completely configure it. So you can have any hierarchy, and the system actually intelligently reads from the hierarchy, and and you can change it at any time. As I said, the configurability, these are some screens, and okay. So that's briefly in terms of what I wanted to present. Any questions?
Don't understand one part.
Okay.
The solution doesn't integrate to even like metering. When you said smart metering, integrate to a certain meter. That is the hardware part of it.
Yeah, in this particular customer scenario, the integration that we have done is with the billing system. So, for example, if you give an RR number, we can do there's an existing billing system, so we integrate with that using the transports or adapters that come with the SOA platform. If there was, for example, some reading that was required from a metering system, it's just about basically typically meters have something like called a Modbus protocol. So we If it's Modbus based, we can integrate directly. If it's some proprietary protocol, we might have to build a custom transport. So it's at most a week's work to do that. So there was no requirement for that, but if there was, we could have done it within a week's time.
Does it closely resemble the SCADA system? What I'm trying to tell you is that there is a certain flow and
Sure.
configurable system that you are building over and above the SCADA system.
That's true. I mean, as I said, we have got multiple solutions. This is complaint and outage, incident management, what I talked about. But there is also a metadata management that we have. And that system has been extended to work for SCADA. So SCADA, typically, they use a DMS, a distribution management system. And essentially, we've used the same platform, extended it to do DMS to work with SCADA. In fact, there's a big initiative called RIPDRP where they're looking at metadata acquisition as well as SCADA. So we are working with vendors like KDN. It's a large Korean multinational, so we are working with them as well. Yes.
Thanks. Great.
Thanks.
One question. What are the intended and actual benefits which are accrued in terms of any quantitative or qualitative targets which were there?
Okay.
So what is the net benefit to anybody in the system other than the integration part, which is obviously evident, but what is the visible improvement, let's say, to the end user service?
Okay. So before this system in BWSSB, the management, for the complainant, they had, very little visibility in terms of if I file a complaint, in terms of what's happening, is it being worked on, how much time it will take, and even if it's not fixed, sometimes it was closed. Now there's an end-to-end. So as a customer, there's been very good feedback. In fact, we've got over 1,000 emails and messages from customers who are very happy with that. There have been blogs who've talked about that. From the management viewpoint, they're able to measure the productivity in terms of what engineer has worked on, how many cases, and by different criteria in terms of the complaint categories and everything. Their visibility, and if something has escalated, up to particularly in some areas or with some engineer, so they've been able to work on that in terms of do the performance management based on that, and we've built over a dozen reports that different levels of management from chief engineer to the chairman wanted. So they're able to look at the productivity in terms of who's doing well, what are the problem areas, and in some cases some complaints required more personnel, so they could actually redistribute the personnel in terms of what they need to focus on. So it's been and even surprisingly for us, we thought the engineers would be resisting it because it brings in transparency and they may not want it. And actually they've been very positive about it because they know what's happening, and they've actually been very supportive of the whole initiative.
In fact, in this case, in case you haven't realized, the consumer is us. The end user is essentially us.
Which is what I was actually trying to ask. What are the feedback?
I think it's very commendable is that they work with the government organization with the complex technology like this, and probably the set of people that you must have worked with must be, the usual government kind of people, right? So that must have been quite a challenge.
Yeah, but it was, as I said, to our surprise, they were far more open to it than what we thought. But the one advantage was, we built what they wanted. We didn't say, this is what we have, use it or not. So, and in fact, every time we had a presentation, in fact, we were supposed to roll it out at one point, and then a lot of suggestions came. But because of, the platform it's based on, it was very easy to incorporate that, and we came back and gave them what they wanted. So I think that also helped. I mean, as I said, the primary benefit is, as I've highlighted, is the flexibility and configurability. So we can exactly implement the kind of workflow business process that you have. So the same solution can be taken to, let's say, electricity board, or it could be a totally different, let's say, a road transport company. So it can be completely configured in terms of hierarchy, in terms of flows, in terms of how escalation happens and everything. And all that you have to do is just configure the software.
His question is different. What is the differentiator that you have versus other more popular or more versatile?
This is like a classical ESP enterprise service bus.
Sure.